Hi everyone, back with another episode here on Lex Talk. So, as I explained in my last video, I was going to do a follow-up episode going over the comments of your favorite solo RPG moments. We have a total of 3 comments from frequent commenters, so thank you again to everyone. I will now go to the comment list and we'll go through each one respectively. So, the first one is from Solo Spelunking. He says, my favorite moment was the first meeting of 2 Star Wars characters, Nash Duncan and Rhea Cloud Shadow. The first episodes of my first season of the adventures in the Keldor sector. If I had to pick out a specific moment, it was their shared training session in the cargo hold of Nash's starship, with Nash shooting Rhea with stun bolts and she was deflecting. Relationship between these two grew from season to season. They eventually became lovers after intense rescue mission in an Imperial outpost. Star Wars. I am a huge fan. Love the movies. Love the shows. Now, this, where you have 2 characters evolving over time, season to season, is monumental. It's a hallmark for how solo RPGs can really pan out to something bigger, especially when you have at least a short campaign building up to something great, which, like as you said, there was that rescue mission in the Imperial Outpost. The lovers thing is as expected. If you have 2 characters close together, out in space doing something, they're most likely going to bond in some fashion. So that Imperial Outpost, I really want to, if you are able to, if you can expand on that, I really am curious how that worked out for them. Because I'm assuming they survived, judging by what you say there. Relationship became these 2 groups for season. Season became lovers after an intense rescue mission in Imperial Outpost. Anything with the Empire, it's going to be, dark, grim, and I'm wondering how that, if you tracked it, obviously, I'm wondering how that, what happened during that Imperial Outpost rescue. But this is proof that having at least 2 characters, which relates to an earlier video I made about either making a solo RPG session a one-shot at least with a group compared to a solo hero or a lone wolf kind of character. Now with this one, you have 2 characters at least noted here, and I'm sure they've interacted with NPCs in the Star Wars universe, but the fact that they became entangled with each other and developed a relationship is just fascinating. So again, I'm really curious how that Imperial Outpost moment unfolded. Obviously, you say that after they, assuming they survived. So thank you, Solo Spelunking, and for anyone who's watching, please subscribe to Solo Spelunking's YouTube channel. He is very a very prominent YouTube channel here on the solo RPG community. Next is one of my favorite YouTuber names, Crapphone. Let's see what we have here. Crapphone says, half-elf rogue snuck into a tent full of people and stole a relic that they were keeping. This had something like 8 dice explode in a row to achieve this. It was nuts, like a 1 in a 10 million chance. She has been incredibly lucky ever since. This is great because I am wondering what system you were using for exploding dice, for acing. I'm going to think, just randomly choosing a game, and that is Savage Worlds. If you had exploding dice, that just shows, or even Tunnels and Trolls in some fashion, with matching pairs. You have exploding dice that just keeps adding to the craziness and the this growing outcome of success where it normally wouldn't be expected. So you have this one character, half-elf rogue, that sneaks into a tent full of people. I'm going to assume maybe bandits or such, but obviously a group of people, and she was able to become very lucky off of this moment. So 8 dice explode is, if you're, I'm guessing, rolling 6 following that. That shows that in being incredibly lucky is just a part of the solo RPG experience, and as lucky as the character can be, it's also in tune with the dice that you roll. So this is great because this shows the mechanic interaction you have with a physical dice or digital dice, whichever you used, that drives the solo RPG experience when you're using dice. So I love that. That's great. Thank you for sharing. Now we have another frequent commenter, Smitty, Gone Base. Thank you for sharing as always. Let's see. So he's specifying the system here. We have Karen 1E rule system. That's terrific. Karen's one of my favorites. I am still going to use Karen 2E, I think, for the next season of Lone Roused Hour after the eventual Sector Void sci-fi campaign using Mothership. So Mythic GM Emulator, obviously that's a great choice. 2E, the second edition. Setting 1935 Miami film noir detective story with very minor occult mythos elements. Okay, so we're kind of dipping into assuming Cthulhu-ish. Okay, so this one's going to let's go through this one again. An innocent witness, the housekeeper of a missing sugar magnate, gets magnate. Sorry, sugar magnate. Pronounce that right. Gets eliminated by a low-level thug in a crime family. Okay, so my detective has a powerful revenge motive going on as a side element in the main story arc. Great. So vengeance always leads to some conflict, or will always lead to conflict. Eventually, through various role-playing scenes and mythic roles, which is again part of the chaos for rolling random, the detective meets the crime boss. As my detective, detective explains that he is still very pissed over what happened to the housekeeper. I rolled a major plot twist as a reaction from the crime boss. So this is where Mythic really jumps out. It's like a jump scare for these moments that really force you to. Again, we'll read the whole thing here, but I want to give myself a prerequisite, some foreshadowing here. I don't use Mythic enough. I use the one-page Mythic, but when I have used Mythic, the tables are absolutely fascinating, and they always provide the most random and with the probability a outcome that can make sense. So with the random, there is some probability to it, if that makes sense. Again, I'm not an expert on Mythic, but I've used it enough to at least to formulate an opinion. The boss summons the thug over to the table with no warning. Right there in front of my detective, pulls a hand cannon and ends the thug. Then looks right at the detective and says, now that we got that out of the way, we can be friends. As friends, I can definitely help you, and I'm sure you'll be able to help me as well. I'm getting some Godfather vibes here. As the story beat popped in my head as a reaction to the dice, I was completely floored. This is completely expected. That's good. You got to have experiences like the solo RPG play because it makes it worth the while. Still am. Only time in my solo experience I really felt visceral shock at something in the story. Still feel that way, and this session was almost a year ago. Okay, so as I'm interpreting it here, there was this housekeeper who had some connection to your character, whether just through innocence, and was eluded by just a low-level thug. You went to go see the crime family, the Godfather. I will just say as a reference, but just as again, I would have to take part in the experience. But as I'm seeing it here, completely unexpected. The Godfather kills this crime boss, kills the thug responsible for killing the housekeeper, and now your character's like, what? WTF? And now he's offering like some kind of allyship. He's offering some kind of team up, some kind of favor. You do me a favor, etc. Vice versa. So that is really interesting, and thank you for the details on. Thank you for the deep dive on the at the end there, the conversation itself, like actually talking about the conversation, what unfolded. I'm assuming you took notes there, that you're able to track that conversation, at least part of it. So, and this is great because I don't often mix with film noir in solo play. I don't often do. I have done, I think, at least recently, a film noir attempt some time ago. I don't recall what system I used. I think it was a rules light system I was experimenting with. Gosh, but yeah, again, I don't do film noir often enough on here. Obviously, I've done Cthulhu based, Call of Cthulhu based here using AI some time ago, but it was a ongoing campaign. It was fun. Again, AI is a different topic, but it's been a while since I used AI for as an Oracle and or dungeon master, but the background behind me is obviously AI. I won't lie about that. But yeah, Call of Cthulhu is always a really intriguing mythos for me. I love that kind of stuff. I just don't do enough of it to like recall a moment that I've had in a past Call of Cthulhu based kind of film noir setup. I know mine was at a hotel in some kind of rock town in the Rockies ish, if I recall correctly. But again, this is great. You got a blend of The Godfather and Cthulhu, at least as I'm seeing it. Um, I'm sorry, I said sugar magnet or magnate. Yeah, so magnate. Magnet. Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I'm sorry. But anywho, that's why I record live, or I record without editing. And moments like that is definitely for for the blooper reel. But more importantly, thank you for these three comments. I apologize. I'm doing this a little earlier than I said if I was going to do this a couple episodes out, but I was just too excited to read these three, especially for frequent commenters. But as always, I will give my thumbs up and heart to your all equally terrific comments. So thank you again to Solo Spelunking, Crapbone, and Spinny Gone Base. And I look forward to your future comments. If there is going to be more moving forward, if I am able to check back on this video and I see another one, I will do my best to read that out in a future video, even if it's on the start or the front or the back of the video. So that's going to be it for this episode. Just reading off the comments as I promised. And please feel free to subscribe, like, share, and comment, which is the biggest part of my channel here. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.